When Sunday says, told you, I am not Igbo, they almost tear the guy down. Sunday just leave you people. Now you are uniting with Sunday Olise. Go and unite with him now. Because you think his father lied to him, or you are his father. So Igbo people, go and tell your children the truth. Because by the time we want to divide Nigeria, what is deceiving most of you that, okay, now we now divide Nigeria into three. God will punish all of you that want to divide Nigeria into three.
Yes, Nigerians, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his asswipe, Bayo Onanuga. That's their new propaganda to divide and conquer Igbos. In 1967, it was the Fulani cabal dividing and conquering Igbos and their neighbors, and taking the neighbors and putting in their pockets, and then carried a propaganda for over 50 years to destroy Igbo and Igbo land. It didn't work. Now, Tinubu and Bayo Onanuga are hiring their new propaganda forces with their conspiracy theories.
Love way, love way, love lily. Love way, love way, love lily.
Have you liked the video? Have you shared the video? Have you subscribed? Are you gonna comment? We'd like to see you subscribe. That's part of how we grow. You see the image that was moving his head without any voice? I did that intentionally. We'll get to him and you'll hear his garbage. That's the new face of divide and conquer that is being implemented by this Tinubu administration, spearheaded by his special advisor on media or whatever, Bayo Onanuga. For at least a year, you've heard me talk about Bayo Onanuga as Nigeria's chief distorter of news. This is a position he has held covertly for at least 10 years. Using propaganda when there was no social media, and he was part of the Lagos media especially, which occasionally had some influence in Abuja, using the newspapers and the media in Lagos and Abuja to thwart the news and distort facts, especially facts as they relate to undermining the Igbo people, the Igbo region, and the Igbo interest in Nigeria. In 1967, the Fulani cabal embarked on an unspoken agreement to make sure that Igbos do not rear their head in Nigeria again. For some reason lately, it seems like Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Bayo Onanuga have decided to make that their personal mission. I want you to listen to this idiot they hired. First time I heard him, I thought he was Yoruba. He's not Yoruba. He's one of the minority Igbos or something close to it. And the mission now is not to divide the eastern region. The mission now is to divide Igbo people in Nigeria. Just listen.
When Sunday says, told you, I am not Igbo, they almost tear the guy down. Sunday just leave you people. Now you are uniting with Sunday Olise. Go and unite with him now. Because you think his father lied to him, or you are his father. So Igbo people, go and tell your children the truth. Because by the time we want to divide Nigeria, what is deceiving most of you that, okay, now we now divide Nigeria into three. God will punish all of you that want to divide Nigeria into three. You are not dividing any Nigeria. You are not dividing any Nigeria until we are done with bookkeeping, check and balance. So to some of them hallucinating, one day we now wake up, yes, We are now here to divide Nigeria into three. Yoruba take one, Hausa take one, Igbo take one. God will punish all of you. Who want to divide Nigeria into three? Which Wazobia? What is the fucking Wazobia you are dividing us into? Did Oyibo even know Wazobia? Oyibo left two districts, the North and the Southern Protectorate. But for the sake of political reason, they needed more fronts in order to create a viable political party. That is how they divided the Southern Protectorate into two, giving birth to the West and the East. But that does not cover the truth that there are other millions of ethnic groups under this concept. It was to create a structure that will enable a heterogeneous society function homogeneously. Why can't you tell your people the truth? So we shall divide Anambra when the time comes. 3 ethnic group. Igbo will go. The one that come from Israel will go to Israel. The one that come from Anyoma will go to Anyoma and Benin and go to Yoruba land. The one that come from Jamaica will go to Jamaica. I have about 10 workers who are Igala people. And when we come, they can speak Anambra, You know, there is a way Anambra, they all have unique tongue. They can speak Anambra, But then, when they are together, you begin to hear their Igala language. And that is when I say, wait, where are now for come? They say Anambra State. I say, wait, when they speak? They say Igala. I say, wait. And so we don't come out and tell you what we don't know. We investigated 98 communities in Anambra State. 21 are not a gala. 98 minus 21. And I know Anambra, but you don't know. After Aguneri and Muneri, the next community till you enter Enugu, till you enter Kogi State, all of them are gala people. Is any of them working in Oka government house? You never love people where they the same state with you. You won't carry me join. And your father did not tell you that Opi Weka is not Igbo man. It's a gala. Because they don't want you to know. The day they will push you to come and kill Onitsha people, you will now move. This is not the era of Oshobe. Oshobe is for brainless people. But Onitsha people are not saying anything. Be doing what you want to do. But your father didn't tell you. You think Anambra is Igbo. Go and ask Soludo. Igbo have Anambra. Now, this is where you are going to have serious problem. The non-Igbo in Anambra retain their indigenous dialect and they speak Igbo. And then we go to Enugu. When you get to Enugu, Enugu is made up of three people, 3 ethnic group. 3 ethnic group recognized by Nigeria. That is what Enugu is made up of. I was talking to one Enugu man. He said, sir, what you talk now true? Because you get some people where they so place. They know they hear Igbo and I know they hear waiting then talk. But I'm sure many Enugu people don't know. In the Oshi, they have learned to improvise. So what they do now is they learn your dialect, they speak your dialect, but they retain their original dialect. Look at the man Tinubu appointed, whether one of the ministers Tinubu appointed. He's from Enugu, but he's not Igbo man. That is why when Tinubu appointed him, all these Igbo people from Israel jump out. He said, no, the Igbo man, he won't give her. But when they see that if they hyper this matter, they will be disgraced. That is why they are not talking again.
If we move, if we move, I am Adure.
Folks, ignorant could never be described any better. While Nigeria is spinning hopelessly downwards and our GDP is suffering astronomically compared to other African countries and their GDPs, while Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be focusing on how to regroup and redirect Nigeria's economy to production, he continues to play the divide and conquer game that he plays in Lagos and has been playing since 1999. And now he wants to play that divide and conquer game with the Igbo tribe of Nigeria, captained by his asswipe, Bayo Onanuga, whose claim to fame is that he's Nigeria's editor-in-chief for distorted news across the country. This isn't anything new. Bayo Onanuga has been doing this since prior to Babangida, around Obasanjo time, whenever he got into journalism. He's been paid. I'm sorry to say this. This is not a Yoruba rant. This is a Tinubu and Bayo Onanuga rant. But you can't tell me that you don't know that certain Yoruba politicians and Yoruba leaders have, just like the Fulani cabal started their crap in 1967 to minimize Igbos, you can't tell me that you don't know that there are certain conniving Yoruba people whose only ability to compete is to compete in a situation where they are being handed freebies, like I call them the welfare Yorubas. And their welfareism has no limit. So this has nothing to do with me talking about Yorubas. They do their welfareism against their own Yorubas. And you Yorubas, if you say I'm lying, come out, let's debate it. And if you rear your face, I'll mention names that I don't want to mention. Right now, I'm focusing on Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Bayo Onanuga, with remnants falling on Sanwo-Olu. But this isn't anything new. Right there in Lagos, you have everybody going around like, oh, we own Lagos. How many of you own Lagos? You're kissing a man's ass and he's ripping you off and taking everything in a land that belongs to all of you. And your only claim to fame in that rip-off is, oh, Lagos belongs to us. How much property do you own in Lagos on the average? So what I'm talking about is not Igbo versus Yoruba. I'm talking as a Nigerian, and my talk also affects and is good for Yorubas who have been ripped off in Lagos since 1999, and not just ordinary people. It amazes me that some significant, well-connected Yorubas have also stayed mum, shut their mouth, said nothing, while Tinubu, who is not from Lagos, runs your state. Igbos have no interest in Lagos or running Lagos. But Igbos are not going to sit back and watch this Tinubu propaganda start taking a foothold in Nigeria. Just like the one we fought, which I think we finally got that stigma off our back since 1970s. That Igbos are responsible for Nigeria's problems. Igbos are responsible for the civil war. Igbos are responsible for the coup. Igbos like money. Still, they are the ones who don't get the Nigerian money. They get hard-earned money. But Igbos like money. While Tinubu and his cohorts in Lagos embezzle all the money in Lagos, now they are in Abuja trying to embezzle all the money in Abuja. If they're wealthy, it's either welfare money or embezzled money. The only way they know how to compete, this class of Yorubas, is to take handouts from the people they serve, like Tinubu and Buhari and whatever. But if anything is put up for bidding for people to bid and show what they can do with their skills and their brains, these guys can't compete. And that's the bane of the problem in Nigeria. While Nigerians are fighting to build a Nigeria that's equitable for everybody, Tinubu and his group in Lagos will fight to make sure that nothing that has to do with equitable distribution of resources in Nigeria can take hold, because the only way they know how to compete is unfairly and just collecting handouts and welfare from government. And this applies to their fellow Yorubas. The Yorubas who can compete are not getting the contracts. It's these conniving bunch. But this time around, Bayo, Onanuga, and Bola Tinubu and their crony who puts out these videos, as long as Bold Talk on Allen TV exists, I'm going to meet you video for video. But let's be realistic. Remember, I call out dubious, cabal-pocketed Igbos. So this is not a tribalistic thing. But there are dubious, and there have been in the past, dubious, cabal-pocketed Yoruba people. That group today is in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And as long as this group of Yorubas can feed their pockets and their bank accounts and lie to the ordinary Yoruba person that we are doing this for Yoruba people, èmi ló kàn, Yorùbá ló kàn, tó bá dẹ̀ ti dọ́dọ̀ Yorùbá, èmi ló kàn. It's our turn. I'm translating that crap that Bola Ahmed Tinubu fed Nigerians. I'm translating what he said for people who don't understand Yoruba. What he was saying is, it's the Yoruba turn. And when it gets to Yorubas, it's my turn. That's how greedy and selfish this drug-dealing, conniving, so-called president of Nigeria is. This nonsense, this garbage that this saboteur, he's not a Yoruba person. He may sound, he grew up in Lagos maybe, or grew up in Ibadan, but he's not Yoruba. He's from one of the states around Igbo land, close to Igbo land, whether it's Urobo or somewhere in Delta. Not Ikwere and Akwa Ibom and Cross River. That's not how they talk. This guy is Tinubu and Bayo Onanuga pocketed. Remember, he's the same idiot that a few months ago came out with a video saying that Igbos are responsible for everything that's ever gone wrong in Nigeria, starting with Agu Ironsi being the one who brought the unitary government. How ignorant. Agu Ironsi was military head of state in a country where decisions are made by the Supreme Military Council. And at the time of Agu Ironsi, a Supreme Military Council that he had to be careful because he was surrounded by Fulanis, Hassan Katsina and Murtala Muhammad. How could Agu Ironsi single-handedly make the decision to convert the Nigerian federal system, where the units, Eastern Region, Midwest, Northern Region, and Western Region, had their independence in running their economies? How could Agu Ironsi, who had guns, invisible guns to his head, that later became visible guns that he was blown away with, how could he single-handedly make the decision to change the system of governance? But that's what the Bayo Onanugas feed the idiot that made that video. And he's going to come out with more. And I hope that there will be more Igbos coming out vehemently to rubbish this nonsense. In 1967, they divided and conquered Igbos and their neighbors. Took the neighbors, put in their pockets, turned them against Igbos. Now the new propaganda is to turn Igbos against Igbos. And shame on Igbos if they sit back and don't come out swinging. I'd like to see Bayo Onanuga's grades from School of Journalism. I really like to see his grades from School of Journalism. And I would really like to see a Nigeria where everybody practices their skill based on what they know, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and journalists. And I'd like to see Bayo Onanuga come out and write articles like the beautiful articles we see written in this day by qualified journalists. I'd like to see Bayo Onanuga come out and write for Nigerians to read. No, the only thing Bayo Onanuga understands is dubious behavior like his master, Tinubu. Everything they've ever achieved in their life was on an uneven playing field. And I feel sorry for Nigeria and consumers of journalism in Nigeria, because this crony, this Tinubu crony called Bayo Onanuga has won some significant journalism prizes in Nigeria, because it's a country where things are not handed out with merit. They're handed out to the ones who kiss up to the most dumb asses in Nigeria. That's how Bayo Onanuga won journalism prizes. Put Tinubu and Bayo Onanuga on an even playing field. They can't compete. It's corruption, embezzlement, land grabbing, journalism for hire, journalism for money. That's all they do. It's shameful. It's sickening. And finally, to Igbos, or before I get to Igbos, to the general population of Yorubas, this is not about Yorubas. I am not here to bash Yorubas, but bold talk on Allen TV speaks truth to power. And sometimes that truth to power means that I'm going to step on some topics. But in Nigeria, if you're Igbo and there is atrocity being committed by Yorubas, you dare not talk about it because you're tribalistic. And if you're Yoruba and there's an atrocity being committed by Igbos, you dare not talk about it because you're tribalistic. You can't tell the truth in Nigeria without being accused of tribalism. I'll be the fall guy. Call me tribalistic. But anybody who knows me well, Yorubas included, know that I don't have one iota of tribalism in me. All I have is a love for Nigeria, a country that Nigerians choose to shut up, say nothing, while it slips away, and we just complain, Tinubu this. Why is every Nigerian not screaming about Tinubu's atrocities? And now to Igbos. Sit around and fool yourself and undermine this guy. This guy, this is his second video in the last 6 months. These videos are not done randomly like mine is done, or Aisha Yesufu, or Dele Farotimi, or Ayoade Molekun, or Rufai Oseni commenting on what he sees. No, this guy's video is well choreographed, by Bayo Onanuga and his deceptive Yoruba friends, not Yoruba people, his deceptive Yoruba friends, many of them in Lagos, many of them in Sanwo-Olu's government. But I need not say much. If you're a Yoruba person and you think I'm being tribalistic, I didn't talk about what Tinubu has been doing in Lagos since 1999. You're the one talking about it. So are you tribalistic for seeing that Tinubu is a crook that has mismanaged Lagos revenue for 24 years? It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer. But I just have to lay down my facts. You do what you like with it. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Allen TV. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Love way, love way, love lily. Love way, love way, love lily. Oh, where am I? Low, really, if we move. Hello, if we move. I am, I do, lele.
Farms and the birds away from the rice farm.